Yeah, Hunter, I mean, again, it's just a time to get to people, for people to say, who's this guy, and get to know you.
Well, for starters, my name is Hunter Harrison Shrewsbury. I was born on July 10th, 1970. I'm 53 years old as of this week. I'm pretty much the last of my family, the second to last of the Shrewsbury bloodline. Mom and Dad are gone. Dave's gone. Cousins, I don't talk to them. I also am trying to get a cleaning business started and up and running. I go from Market, where Starbucks is, and I go all the way down to Lock and Keel and back, and I sweep and clean.
On the street?
Yeah, and I fly a sign that says, I like being part of the solution, not being part of the problem, by picking up the trash, and donations gladly accepted. Thank you and God bless.
Nice.
And a lot of people usually steal my from.
Hunter, let's go back a little bit. Tell me where you were born and raised.
I was raised in Burien, which is now a horrid place to be. I was gone for 25 years. I went to Alaska for 25 years, and when I came home, that was the first place I went to. And where I saw it, it was ugly. And Ballard is what Burien used to be, and Burien is now what Ballard used to be. And I don't know how they managed to do the switch, but it's crazy.
Huh, interesting.
But I like it up here a lot better.
So you're a Seattle, or I should say Pacific Northwest, Washington local, and when you were in Burien, do you have a brother or sisters, or?
I had one brother by the name of David Park Shrewsbury. I haven't spoken to him not once since I've been home.
You were raised with mom and dad, and?
Mom and dad are gone. Yeah, we had both parents. Things were very strange in the house.
Tell me about that. What do you mean?
How do I put this? There was basically a lot of abuse going on. I was the unwanted child, basically. And also, during that time, I also got sexually abused for 3 years by the neighbor's 2 boys, and of course I got away with it because I was too scared and already living in fear in my own home. I've managed to get past it, and now because of the abuse, I'm very protective of kids. I don't care if they're my kids or not. I'm very protective. If I catch anybody beating on somebody's kid, and the kid didn't do anything to deserve it, I usually raise unholy hell. I have no tolerance for that crap. After what I went through growing up, I don't envy any kid that's got to go through it. And from what I understand, most kids usually don't make it. They usually end up getting killed or beaten to death or God only knows what. See, I went to Cedarhurst Elementary, tried Woodside High for a little while.
And this all in Burien?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then I ended up getting in trouble with the law by the time I was 12. I ended up in a few group homes on the streets, in foster care, which once I finally got to do it, at first it was great, but then by the time I was done with it, I was glad to get the hell out of there.
So when you were 12 years old,
yeah,
you had your mom and dad in a home and your brother, but you went to foster care?
I went into foster care when I was about 17.
And they put you in foster care?
No, it was through the YMCA Continuum of Care, the YMCA on 4th and Madison. Wendy Hughes was my youth counselor at the time. I was a teenager at the time. The foster parent's name was Dorian Shaw, who I do not miss at all. But I hope she's still doing well anyways. And I hope life's gotten better for her. Let's see. I never graduated high school. Dropped out of school. I just got to a point where I just got bored with it. I just wasn't very much of a people person at that time. I usually stayed home a lot. I didn't socialize too much. My friends were very few and far between and very limited. As far as my teen years, outside of getting into trouble, and finally by the time I was 16, I finally had learned my lesson, finally got a clue, because I got tired of being on probation and getting in trouble with the law and having the cops show up at my door. Finally got my head on my rear end, as I like to put it, and straightened up and was doing real good until about 93, and then all hell broke loose and Mom and Dad got away with lying and having me falsely arrested. With King County Police going, oh yeah, go ahead, lie, you can't prove nothing. No, they were right. So not too long after that, by the time I was ready to turn 25, I was like, I'm out of here. And I stayed gone for 25 years, and I just came home almost 4 years ago.
That's when you went to Alaska?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. This might be a tough question, you don't have to answer it. But when you were in your teen years, did you talk to anybody about those other boys in your neighborhood, and you just kept it in?
I talked to one counselor about it when I was in my first group home, and it got basically put out on the table, and it was pretty much brought to my parents' attention then, and by then it was too late. The Kremlin family, Doug and Keith Kremlin were the two boys, had already left and moved out. My father still owned the house on the other side of the hedge, but they were gone. And once in a while we'd see Keith, but that would be about it.
So your parents did know, but...
No.
Oh,
Not until I was about 13 or 14.
And what was their response?
Oh, they weren't surprised. They kind of wondered, which I thought was an odd thing to say, because they're so involved and so stuck on them, so involved with their own church, the things that went on in their church and all that, so much that they're just, how could they even have time to even think about that when they're so involved in their church activities? My parents' religion was Mormon, of course. By the time I was 13, I started seeing reading between the lines on that church. I looked at them both and I said, you're not going to raise me this way. You're nothing but a bunch of white supremacists in sheep's clothing. That's all you are. And you're greedy, you're selfish, and just sit there and say, with the beliefs you have, to say you're the true eternal God, it's a lie. And I said this right in front of the whole family. And the war and the war was on.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see, what else can I tell you?
Well, tell me about Alaska. What'd you do up there?
Lived my life.
Good.
I looked out for people's kids, of course. Tried to live my life in peace, not chaos. I didn't always get along with everybody, but I usually lived by myself, kept to myself. My number of acquaintances and friends grew a little bit, but I still kept my distance from people to a very huge extent. But, tried to be helpful, and somebody needed help, tried to help them, tried to be good-mannered, a halfway decent citizen, not getting in any trouble. Or if I was going to get into trouble, I made sure it was the good kind and the kind I could get away with, without having to answer for it later when I got up to the pearly gates. Finally, after about close to the 25-year mark, I got fed up with there, and it's like, I want to come home. I've been up here long enough. It's time to come home. So I'm here. And it's been an experiment.
You talk to your brother?
I got nothing to say to him. I don't want nothing from him. We don't get along.
That's totally fine. You're not alone in that. Lots of people in your family. Hunter, is there something you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
one thing is I'm home, and hopefully for good, and I hope to continue to strive forward and not have this be permanent. I don't mind being outside. I tried the tiny homes for a year and a half, and after a year and a half, I finally, no, I wanted to come back here. I just got to a point that I just got tired of it, and I'd rather be back outside.
Yeah.
So I left.
You mentioned you want to come home. What is home? What is home like to, how do you describe that for you?
All of Seattle.
Gotcha.
This is, as far as I'm concerned, Ballard is part of my backyard. I like it here. It's very nice. I like it a lot better than Burien, especially with the way Burien's become. I feel at home. I mean, yeah, I take a lot of crap and a lot of derogatory comments just because I'm homeless. But at the same time, I'm also making sure that Ballard sees those who got their eyes wide open, nice and wide open, that I'm not a do-nothing, that I'm actually trying to make an effort to do something. And I'm not just sitting around on my rear end all day doing nothing or doing drugs or just getting drunk or anything, because that's not what all of us homeless are about. And part of the reason I started the cleaning business is because there's a man in downtown Seattle that does this already, and it was very inspirational. And I wanted to see myself do more with my cigarette route, which is from up here at that turn down Ballard, all down Ballard Avenue. I wanted to see myself do something more with it, with the route. And then that's when I heard the story about a man that every day, and I believe he's still doing this now, every day he goes out and he has a sign on, 2 signs, and they both say the same one thing, that I like being part of the solution, not part of the problem, by picking up the trash. Donations gladly appreciated or accepted. Thank you and God bless. And so it inspired me, and I was like, I have a friend that works for the city now that was part of our group, and I was talking to him, and I pointed out to him, Rob, you're not here 24/7. You guys come through, you and your cleaning crew comes through every morning. I am here. Let me be your secret helper.
Yeah.
So I volunteered for that, and I was finding a sign on the corner up there where Starbucks was, but I just was getting to a point I was getting burned out. And I went as far as I could with it, and when this other started coming about, I was like, So I tried it a couple of days, and my goodness, it really opened up my eyes, because I made about $40 to $60 in one day, just sweeping, picking up the trash. I was like, well, shoot, I gotta be doing this. And I'm actually more mobile. I think I'd rather do this than sit and fly a sign outside of Starbucks.
Yeah.
So it took off from there, and yeah, like I said, I have a broom. When my brooms aren't necessarily disappearing, I have my own job.
Yeah.
And I like it.
You have a name for your cleaning business?
I'm just the cleaner.
The Cleaner. I think that's a great name. Hunter the Cleaner.
Yep.
Last question.
Okay.
Tell me about your tattoo.
Oh, this is my tribute to a punk rock band out of LA called Black Flag. Henry, anybody who knows anything about them knows that Henry Rollins was one of the lead singers who went on to do several speaking tours. I think he wrote some books or poetry or something, and he is the lead singer of the Rollins band. I think Black Flag was one of the first few bands I started listening to, and they grow on you. They definitely grow on you. It's definitely not for everybody. It's punk rock. They're fun to listen to, but they also make you think. So they're good.
Hunter, anything else you want more to say or anything?
Oh, let's just keep it clean and I wish everybody on both sides, homeless and non-homeless, would quit hating on each other. I mean, yeah, some of the homeless deserve. I'm going to come out and say this now. Some of the homeless do deserve it because they do bring it on themselves. But unfortunately, that also puts a stigma on the rest of us, and gives the rest of us a bad name. And sometimes it's also because we do it to ourselves. I would like to see the gap between the homeless and the non-homeless close like it used to be. I think Seattle could do a lot better, and I would like to see it do a lot better. And as far as myself with the cleaning business, I'd like to think I'm making a difference and trying to help turn some attitudes around, because I know there's been a lot of negative attitudes towards me just because I was homeless. But because I've started this cleaning business, I've been getting a lot of thank yous, a lot of smiles, and definitely donations. But I think I've been able to turn some of those bad attitudes around. And I hope I don't stop.
Yeah,
I hope I continue.
Me too.
I really do.
Hunter, thanks for your time. It's good to hear your voice.
Yep.
Thanks for sharing part of your story.
Oh, not a problem.
I know some tough parts in there.
Yep. I don't know what else to say.
I'm
But
gonna
that's not done.
I'm gonna grab that mic and take a couple photos.